What's up, guys? In this video, we're talking to captive insurance agent, life insurance agent, and one of the best agents that I know, mentors of mine, Jeff here, and we're going to dive into some common questions commonly asked by life insurance agents. So, welcome, Jeff. Real quick.
Thanks for having me.
First question. Is being a life insurance agent a good career?
I would say absolutely. I would say it from the sense of like, if you've ever delivered a death benefit and really experience the sense of gratitude from any beneficiary, whether it's 10 grand, 100 grand, a million, 2 million, that's what makes it all worth it. And I feel like you really can't get that level of basically a sense of just you're really making a difference for a family at the worst absolute possible time that anyone could ever imagine, the loss of their significant other or loved one, and you can at least take money off their mind. It's a pretty awesome feeling, honestly.
Let's dive into what we talked about earlier today. How important it is to take advantage, or not take advantage, but to also target the life insurance, not just the P&C stuff, the commercial stuff, the personal lines. How important is it to bring that up when you're talking to customers?
Well, I think,
remember, a lot of these people are P&C agents.
For sure. I think like number one, if you're not going to do it, somebody else is, right? And number two is it's an amazing retention strategy, right? I mean, you got to think about it, right? Your auto insurance renews every 6 months, right? So like these people, if you just save them money and you're not really taking a risk advisor approach and like based off assets and money and future earnings and providing liability limits that make sense off that, and you're just trying to save everyone money, they're going to leave you as soon as those rates go up, right? So if you want to create a very high evolving churning P&C business, just keep saving people money on auto insurance. But once you actually take a step back and separate yourself as like a risk advisor in the industry and say, hey, we do things a little bit differently. Let's talk to you about your net worth. What are you making? What are you worth? Type of thing. Now I can give to you kind of some recommendations that would make sense if something major were to happen. I don't want you to have to out of pocket, right? I know I'm going down the PNC road a little bit, but it ties into life insurance where it's like you're taking a comprehensive approach to the household, where it's like also comes disability insurance, right? So instead of just making money on one product, why not make money and protect that family with something that's much higher paying like life insurance and also disability insurance? So when customers get their PNC, auto, home, umbrella, dependent on how much liability exposure they have, maybe $1, $2, $3, $4, $5 million umbrella, then they have great life policies and they have short-term disability with you. Why would they leave because their auto goes up $20?
They wouldn't.
So yeah, I think not only from a compensation standpoint does it make sense from the agency model, but also from like a retention and building something that's really meaningful as an agency. I think really like taking that holistic approach not only makes you more money, but gives you better customers and more referrals.
I think everybody knows that at the core of everything, it's the more policies you have in one place, the
100%.
better retention you're gonna have. Everybody knows this, but I think the biggest thing, I'm gonna just speak to probably the agents watching, because the most common thing that everyone's probably listening, like, yeah, it sounds great, like I would love to do that, but there's just this fear holding them back from actually going the next step, which is after you do the auto, after you do the home, the umbrella. How do you get, I know obviously you understand their financial situation.
Sure.
But what's the transition phase or, phrase that you use to be like, okay, now that we took care of all this stuff, now what?
I think you could do it quick, and like a temporary Band-Aid is better than no Band-Aid, right? So for example, write them a term, write them a disability plan, right? Like using
something
the following.
cheap.
Yeah, something easy, right? Like using the following word track, right? Like, hey, we just helped you with your auto and your homeowner's insurance. I know that your mortgage is with Morgan U.S. Bank, and we understood that outstanding balance on the mortgage is $890,000. Hey, I'm just curious. We do more than just auto and home. If something happened to you, God forbid, and you didn't wake up this morning, would you want that mortgage paid off for your wife?
So you asked that question.
100%.
Would you want that covered?
Would you want that paid off for your wife? Is that something that would be important to you? I've got it through my job.
It's just such an obvious answer.
Yeah, right? Like,
Yes.
is that something that's important to you? And if they say, oh, I got it through my job, you say, that's great. If something happened to you, how long would you want your wife's lifestyle to remain the same?
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going to say, forever. With what you have through your job, will it do that? If it doesn't, I would love to spend 15 minutes with you because I know you love your family a hell of a lot more than your job does. Would you agree?
Right.
Right, and then set an appointment.
Okay, so back to the thing I was asking.
Yeah.
Everybody hears that and they're like, Jeff, you're a beast. Those are great questions. I would love to be able to say that, but I just can't for some reason. Something's wrong with me. I can't do it. What would you tell that person?
Set up reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now we did your auto insurance, your renter's insurance, even a quick onboarding, and just listen to them and fact find and understand what their incomes are. Yeah, questions. Understand their income.
Maybe have a checklist of questions.
Yeah, get the financial model, right? What are we working with? What are we protecting here? Dive a little deeper. Ask better questions. You can look that up. What kind of questions do financial planners ask? Get 5 or 10 questions that you could go through with each new customer, and you'll be able to kind of design something that's logical that makes sense to present to the customers from a risk model.
And then throw them a nice little term or something.
100%. Something that's very logical. But I would say just start doing reviews, start doing policy reviews, and don't get stuck just explaining liability limits and hey, you got this, but try to create some sort of review model that's scalable and you can meet with your customers. They find value. You're going to get you're going to get referrals. You're going to come into life premium that you're going to find, and you're going to find a lot of disability needs, and you're going to find needs for umbrellas and personal article policies.
So I guess back to that. So having the maybe a little checklist.
Yeah.
What would you say your process is on the life insurance stuff? So how do you just make it a habit every single time you do any type of policy? You just review the customer and just bring up life insurance?
Yeah.
How do you go about it?
We bring up life insurance every single time. So that's not an option in the office. We have a culture around writing life insurance. We do anywhere from 15 to 30 a month, 30 policies. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of those though are cheaper terms that are coming in, but with new business. So at least they're coming on the books being a little bit more, there's a little bit more retention there. Instead of just auto renters, it's auto renters life, maybe disability.
So if they're going to go switch their auto, they're going to look at the whole thing and be
exactly.
Wait a minute.
Exactly. And because, at the end of the day, the other carriers, they don't care if they don't show up tomorrow night. We do.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of
have you ever had to deliver a death benefit?
2, yeah. Yeah.
I just asked that because I feel like people need to hear the horror stories too, because it's unfortunate. This is the reality of it. You don't think about these things. Our conversations that we're having today is the only thing that's going to make a difference for potentially somebody's future, and the worst days of their lives. And it's not everybody. There's hundreds and even thousands of customers you guys have, but the 1, 2, 3 of them that those situations do actually happen to people, and you don't think it's going to happen to you until it does. So it's interesting stuff. What other kind of things do you want to point out about the value of life insurance and the importance of not leaving that on the table for other agents that are doing P&C commercial?
Well, I would just say do it also because it's right for the customer, right? Yeah. Most of you probably have your life license, but you're not using it, right? So why do you even have it, right? So eventually your P&C customers will come to us because we'll get them on life insurance. Right, and then we'll be like, hey, let's take a look at the other stuff. So it's you're leaving a 50% chance every household that you bring on board, some life company is going to go and get them and get the other stuff. Versus if you have you guys have had it all happen all the time, right? Hey, can I get you a quote on auto? Nah, man, I'm with he does my life insurance, he does this, he does my financial planning, he does my retirement, I'm good. Once you get a certain relationship with the family, right, this is a residual business, right? So if you just keep your customers for 1 to 2 years, you're going to not really build something. But if you're able to keep your customers for 10 to 20 years, you can really, really do well in this industry.
For sure.
So I think that not doing it is just not justice for the customer and also not justice for your own pay stubs.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think the biggest challenge that people have is that pushing through the emotional discomfort of asking those questions. How do you feel that you got to the point where you just don't care? Like, what is it about you? Because there's something special about you as a salesperson, and obviously you got the accolades and whatnot. Something's working, but there's something about you that you are not afraid to push through those emotional discomfort moments and
For
conversations. Sure. So what is that about you? What do you think it is about you?
Humans will not make a decision until they're forced upon, right? People, this is just human psychology, right? People, if they're comfortable, they're good. They're not going to make any moves, right? People losing weight, okay? They're comfortable being that weight until something goes wrong in their health. Then they say, oh, I got to lose weight. They're uncomfortable.
Something happened.
Right? Something happened. Same with life insurance, right? You've got to make them realize what would life look like if your income stopped tomorrow and you were gone. And they say, oh, I don't want to think about that. And I agree, but that's why I'm here, because I'm just here to protect your family. What would they do? Yeah. Silence is key with life insurance, right? So I think the way that I did it, though, is I used to listen to some old mentor tapes of like these pretty aggressive word tracks. Like one of them was, what did your family do to make you not want life insurance to protect them? And I thought that was probably the most aggressive word track I've ever heard, ever. I've actually never said that, but it gets you...
What did your family do?
Because it does make... it makes you think, though, that like, in a logical perspective, when you would leave people absolutely financially in financial turmoil, that you can just say, I'll do it later. And you have the understanding that debt equals need. So you got a mortgage, you got income replacement, your wife doesn't work, you got 3 kids, you're absolutely insane if you don't have life insurance. It's just completely irresponsible. So I think understanding that and then listening to those types of word tracks that you hear and you're like, oh, that sounds really good, but I don't know how I could say that. You need to consistently listen to that stuff. Like training. But I mean, like, really, like, listen to those word tracks. Like, don't just watch a good training once. Watch it 10 times. Yeah. Watch it to where you become the training.
Watch this video multiple times.
Watch it where you become the training. Like, we always talk about the Closer Survival Guide from Grant Cardone. He's got all the great closes, right? I got to talk to my spouse. Absolutely. What happens if your spouse says no? Oh, there's no way she's going to say no, Jeff. Great, let's do it. You got 45 days to think about it. Let's roll with an application. Takes 10 minutes. Come on, let's protect your family. I know they're worth $40, aren't they? Right, so like you just have to really believe in your product too. Obviously, that's a major piece, because like if you for some reason just in the back of your mind you kind of think it's like not that important, like whatever. Somehow you got to sell yourself on it, like at your core rooted, just deep in your body, that you really are making a big difference for people, and that will allow you to ask those tougher questions.
I think that right there goes for everything in insurance. It's not just life insurance. That's a huge one, I think, for life insurance, but it goes across the board when it comes to liability, to homeowners, to auto. Yep. When you're talking to people about your coverages, you got to believe it 100% yourself. If you're not sold, then sales are simply just a transfer of certainty. So who believes in their product more, who believes in what they're saying more, I think is key. So
for sure, it's like that book Grant Cardone talks about, sell or be sold, right? And it's super true. Like, you are either going to sell them why they need it today, or they're going to sell you on why it doesn't make sense and they have time to wait.
Yeah.
So it's like that urgency piece, especially in life insurance, which is we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. One of my team members, let's go, great job, let's get it. Sales. Let me just close something. But with life insurance, like, we just had a story in the office. One of my team members, he had a cousin, 27-year-old young guy, had some problems and went to the doctor. They did an MRI. Guy ended up with stage 4 cancer, and they tried to get him a life policy. Obviously, you can't get it when you need it, right? And it breaks your heart, right? And that now they're doing car washes, they're doing all those things that you just hate to see, when it's like, if one of us would have just had a simple conversation with somebody and just said, hey, this is part of your portfolio, this is important to have, I know you're young, you don't have kids, that's great, you don't get life insurance when you need it, You get it when you're young and healthy, so when you need it, you got it, right? Simple little word track there. Here's a little term, $25 a month. Let's get that set up. We'll review it in a couple of years, maybe move it into more of an asset class, right? So unfortunately, which is whole life, right? And unfortunately, that conversation was never had. Now as right? If you die, people got to pay for it.
Yep.
It's really unfortunate, right? You come out, you got to pay for that. Your parents got to pay for you, and then you go back in, and your family's got to pay for that, right? So it's like, it's not free to die, unfortunately, right? It's not free, and But again, that's just we try to tell people these stories to really get them to realize, because again, a comfortable person just will not make a decision. And it's not an everyday conversation where you and I were sitting at the dinner table. I'm sitting there with my wife saying, we should get life insurance. No, everybody's comfortable. They don't think about those types of things. So that's our job.
Right. It's your duty to do that.
Absolutely.
It's not just your job.
It's an obligation.
It's your duty. I say that for myself too, because I got to resell myself constantly that it is my duty to ask these questions and to do them to the best of my ability and train and listen to people like Jeff. Jeff is some might say a Picasso of the mind, painting pictures and making people feel things and visualizing some of these things. Picasso of the mind, everybody. We got him right here. Jeff, that's some great stuff.
Thanks, bro.
Any last words?
No, just honestly, just give it a go. Start selling term. Just start pivoting term products. Hey, let's get you a $250,000. It's this price. No? Okay, no problem. Hey, let's get you this. Let's get you this. Let's get you this. Let's get you this. No, 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 no. Oh, yes. Also, can you do my wife? Can you do my brother? Can you do my sister? Can you do our kids? You ask enough people, you start to build momentum, right? So at the end of the day, even if you started, our question is always how to get started, because I know a lot of viewers are just starting. Just start trying. Give it a go. And yes, you're probably not going to sell something for a month. But once you get one, then you can get two. Then you get two, you can get four. Then you get four, you can get eight. Then you get eight, you get 16. So it's a beautiful referral game if you do it right. Yeah. So
it's like they say, rocket ships, when they're taking off out of the earth, they don't stop. They don't stop halfway. They're when they're taking off, they're going.
Yeah.
They're going. So the momentum, really, you got to keep it going with the momentum.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, right? A rocket ship is also off course most of the time when it makes it into its destination, right? So don't think it has to be perfect.
Is it?
Yeah. I think that was from a Zig Ziglar
I don't
book.
know.
Yeah.
I feel like rocket ships are pretty precise.
No, they're not at all. It's a scam.
It's a scam.
Do we have any good books to shout out here?
I don't know, man.
Actually, grab that one right there, the CPA one right to the right of the Power of Zero right there. Get that one. Yeah. Okay. Now, this is a little bit more advanced, but I would advise you to read this. This is Confessions of a CPA.
That's a good book.
Really good book. Who's this by? Brian Bloom. And he's actually a CPA. So if you're looking to sell more permanent products, I would read this. I was absolutely mind blown the first time I read this book. But read it, give it a read, and you guys will learn something. Thank you, buddy.
See you guys at the top.
Good stuff.
Thank you,
I'll
Jeff.
see you at the top, man.
Keep it up, man.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you guys.